bit of wildwood flower in a couple of different keys to introduce this Sigma copy of a Martin D35. I've always considered D model guitars to be really flat picking bluegrass guitars, so I won't even attempt to do a bit of finger picking on it. Not that I can do much finger picking nowadays. And let's start by talking about what a Martin D35 is before we start saying what a very good copy of it is. It's a copy, incidentally, that was made under license to Sigma. Sigma being an Oriental company who specialised in Martin copy guitars initially. I think we all know what a D model looks like, short for Dreadnought. This was the model that kicked it all off for the Martin company as a guitar company, I think. But the D18, D28 models were most popular. The D35 came along. I don't know the exact date. I'm not one of these buffs who knows all these dates about when changes took place. But I do know that they started running out of rosewood big enough to make two-piece backs. So they made this three-piece back variation. And just to tart it up a little bit more, they bound the fingerboard. Now, for once in my life, we've got some sun on the job here, but obviously the sun is too strong and it's distorting it. So give me 2 secs to do my blind. There we are. I think I've just switched the pickup on by accident. Yes, I have. Anyway, sorry for that little blip. It's nice to have a bit of sun, but then when you get it sometimes it's too much. So the binding, I can talk about this with some kind of authority because my very, very first Martin guitar was a D35, and I bought it when I was just a young man. In fact, I didn't buy it outright. I traded in a Gibson LG1, which was a very nice little, it was my first Gibson flat top, which was a very nice little guitar, but the draw of a Martin was too much for me, and I traded that LG1 in and something else, but I can't remember what it was just off the top of my head. Anyway, one of the things I found out, the pros and cons of this, is that Martin have a very peculiar way of binding the fretboard. I'm saying this because this is one of the warts and all things, and that is they bind the neck and then they fret it, which means the fret wires overlay the binding, thus negating the point of binding in my view. And when I complained about it to Martin, because you see what happens is that especially the strings, the first string, if you were going to do a bit of bending or pulling off, you could actually trap that string under the edge of the fret, which I did several times when I was first trying to master it. So I complained to Martin, and they said, well, we've been doing this for about 100 years now. I said, well, you've obviously been doing it wrong for about 100 years, so I think you should put it right. But being the intransigent company that they are, they stuck to their way of doing it. So the D35 had to go. But as somebody once told me, well, actually the guy that I bought it off once told me, he said, now you've got a D35 and you play it for a little while, he says, you'll start thinking about the kind of Martin guitar you really want. And that's exactly what happened, because I've been through all sorts of Martin guitars. And I do have a D model somewhere in the attic, I think, but it rarely comes out nowadays because I use other models more. Excuse me, got a bit of a tickle. Anyway, excuse me. Because I think that the other thing I would say about this guitar, as well as it being quite nice plain, but rosewood back and sides, spruce top guitar. One of the other features of this particular guitar was it was also at the time that they were running scared about imitation tortoiseshell celluloid pick guards being extremely flammable or inflammable, whichever college you went to, and they introduced this plain black pick guard. So if you don't mind that, it's quite stunning. The other thing was my first experience of was the Grover automatic machines, which I think Grovers are probably made in China now along with everything else, but they still work just as good. So the nice and smooth machines keep the job in tune. So I'm not going to try and sort of flat pick any more bluegrassy things, because apart from anything else, I'm not up to it nowadays. So what I will do is just run through a few chords so as you get the full benefit of what a dreadnought big deep body can do to the tone of a phosphor-bronze string. So let's start off with just a straight E chord. Leading me on to A, and then to D, or if you like, an octave lower, which will lead us on to G, which we've already... See, I can't do licks like that anymore, lest a flat G run. It's eludes me. And now once you can do that with an F chord, you can now play bluegrass in any key with equanimity. That's my theory anyway. What else can we say about this? As well as being a damn good copy of a Martin guitar, I will just, while I'm talking about Martin, I would just have to slip in here the fact that if anybody knew Mick Martin, who ended up an absolutely brilliant all-round guitarist as well as a bluegrass guitarist, had his first lessons from me when he was about 15-year-old. Poor guy died about 2 years ago, which I'm sorry to see him go. But he went through absolutely, literally dozens of guitars, and he actually ended up with a Sigma D model, which he claimed was better than any of the Martins he'd ever played. So there you are. There's a little sort of recommendation from somebody who was semi-famous, if you like. So what else about this guitar? Well, apart from the fact that it's a great acoustic flat picking guitar, this has also had a Fishman pickup installed. Now, I've got to say that it's not my favourite model of Fishman pickup, because all it's got on is a volume control in the sound hole there and a treble control. Now, treble on an acoustic guitar is not necessarily a desirable facet of it. So even when I've rolled all this treble off, it still seems very tinny to me. So I've got it plugged into a little Fender reverb amp here, and I've got all the treble rolled off on the amp, and quite a bit of middle and a little bit of bass, but even so it still sounds... Let's just... too much volume on there. There's the treble down to a minimum. But this is for somebody that not just wants if you're playing a guitar like this in a rhythmic fashion, I would, you know, keep the volume down to a minimum, because there's nothing sounds worse than an electroacoustic guitar that's wound up. It just sounds like a rusty bird cage. So I always wind the treble off and use it. It's really for sound reinforcement. After all, if you wanted an electric guitar sound, you would buy an electric guitar. So I'm going to do something that's sort of semi-bluegrass, if you like. The next best thing to bluegrass. In fact, some people might say bluegrass is the next best thing to western swing. So we'll just give a little bit of sort of bluegrassy western swing to give you an idea of what this thing sounds like amplified. A tune not unlike Wildwood Flower is, forgotten the title of it. Even forgotten the intro to it. That's great, isn't it? I'll play the break, I'll get the tune from the break. San Antonio Rose. Deep within my heart lies a melody, the song of old San Antone, where in dreams I live with the memory, beneath the stars all alone. It was there I found beside the Alamo, enchantment strange as the blue up above, the moonlit paths that only she would know. Still hears my broken song of love. Oh, moon in all your splendor, know only my heart. Call back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own. Broken song, empty words I know, still live in my heart all alone. For that moonlit pass beside the Alamo, and my rose of San Antone. Yes, Rose, my Rose of San Antone. Sigma D35 copy, acoustic or electric. Thanks for watching. Bye now.